Gitche manadu. Daga we duk gawishin. Ekadom in a way nungum. What I just said there in Ojibwe was, Great Spirit, please help me to speak well today. I've been having a hard time making these videos the last couple of days. I keep on screwing up and starting over and just not being very inspired. And so, something told me I should just do a totally honest, candid discussion about my spirituality. So this is the story. This is my, I'm not even sure what you call it. See, I have such a hard time talking about that. I get self-conscious. This is my awakening. So I guess part of it is like, where do you start and how long do you want this to go? So how do I start? I'm reading the Bible here. This is my grandma's Bible. My grandma passed away. Oh, geez. It's probably been 8 years now. No, it's been longer. 9 years or so. And my grandma was the matriarch of the family. And she's the one who saved all of us, basically. My grandma was a boarding school survivor, but she wouldn't have called herself that. She was a proud graduate of the Flandreau Indian boarding school. And it was at Flandreau where my grandmother found God. And she dedicated her life to Jesus, to Christianity. She became what most people would call a evangelical Baptist. And, so my earliest memories are going to church with my grandma. And anyway, so me and my grandma were really tight. And I was raised going to church every Sunday, going to Sunday school. And my grandma was also one of these ladies who was always involved. She'd be the first one with the hot dish for the funeral. She was part of what I think they called it, the ladies' aid. And she would put on the Christmas pageants. We'd have plays and music and do all this stuff for the church Christmas program. I mean, when I was a kid, Christmas was it was really fun. You'd have Christmas stuff at school, and then there'd be the Christmas program at church, and then there'd be Christmas Eve at grandma's, Christmas morning at mom and dad's. Christmas, I mean, it was go see Santa Claus down at the community center. I remember Santa Claus would ride up on a snowmobile. And I'd be like, what? Where's the sleigh, Santa? I didn't know you rode a snowmobile. And how come you look so much like the bus driver? But anyway. So my grandma was a boarding school girl who found Christianity. And for the rest of her life, she was a devout Christian. And so then I come along and, she brings me along to everything. And I learned a lot. But by the time I was, 13, I really didn't. Well, here's it. Even before that, I used to go to summer camps. I'd go to Camp Oak Hills. I didn't even know it was Oak Hills, like oaks in the hills. I thought it was Oak Hills, like a like an Irishman who murders. Oak Hills. But the problem with Christianity I had was it was so uncool. You had the hair bands, you had Kiss, and you had all this cool satanic stuff where guys with long hair and leather and vampires, and I mean, that was cool. Then you had church people. They wore polyester suits and ties, and they had short hair. And I don't know, it was dorky. And I kind of drifted away. But, I still had like a connection to the Creator. I would still pray occasionally. And I believed in a soul and all this. Then came college. And in college, I learned that that was all nonsense. That, you can either believe in Christianity or you can believe in science. You can't have it both ways. Because the Bible here says one thing, but in college they told me, no, we've worked that out. That's not true. It's evolution. These books are not meant to be taken literally. They're metaphors, like Jack and the Beanstalk. You're supposed to learn a good lesson, and, every culture has religion and whatever. There's an old Steve Martin bit where he goes, wouldn't it be weird if you died and you woke up in heaven? And it was like all the pearly gates and all that. And you'd be like, whoa. In college, I said this was all bullshit. But then he goes on, But so by the time I got through college, I really had a hard time believing in the literal Bible. And then I thought, well, okay, if we can prove that there was no Adam and Eve and no Garden of Eden, and we know for a fact that, whatever, then what's it good for? And I was okay with that, really. And then, I really got into Buddhism, and I really got into Theosophy, to the teachings of Jiddu Krishnamurti. I was really into Ken Wilber and all that. I even went to work at a college called Naropa. It was a Buddhist college. And, I really dug into that for about 5 or 6 years. I really studied hard, especially Krishnamurti. And I practiced a little meditation, but I really tried to live the teachings. This idea of enlightenment. And I just thought, well, I'm miserable. Maybe this can help me be happier. And, I kept on searching and searching. And it was always just a little bit out of reach. And then about 4 years ago, and I hope I don't get emotional talking about this. We dukkha wishing. But my cat died. See, I'm already emotional. I was so... it was weird. I don't know how to explain this. Anyway, I was so sad about my cat dying that I started to pray again. And I was making deals with God, not to spare my cat, but to take her quickly, to end her suffering. I guess I could have done that by taking her to the vet, but I decided, being a loving cat owner, to let her die slowly at home. And something happened, like Enlightenment, where I woke up not to the truth, I woke up to the lies. You see, right around that same time, I started to learn about the flat earth theory. And I'm not even saying that I believe in the flat earth, but I realized, and you can do your own research, it's harder now, but back then it was all over the internet. But there's really no proof unless you just take the word of one agency, NASA, which is, I'm not just saying this, it was started by Nazis, okay? But I started researching conspiracy theories and the moon landing hoax and all that. And I realized that, oh wait, there's like a secret satanic society. That's real. I used to say, oh, how stupid. There's no such thing as a Satan worshiper. Number one, there's no such thing as Satan. That'd be stupid. Number two, that's a Christian mythological figure. You'd have to be a Christian first to believe in Satan, and then choose the bad guy. Who's going to do that? It's like going for Darth Vader or something. And so I just logically couldn't believe in especially Christianity. Oh, I also forgot. Let's go back to about, I don't know, 12 years, 15 years ago. Anyway, I was really into sweat lodges and the traditional Indian way. And I'm still into traditional Indian culture. You know, obviously I love the language and, you know, all that. But I used to, really follow the Red Road. I mean, now I think I'm following the Red Road, but it's the Christian Red Road. And, but in all the sweat lodges I was in, I used to get kind of scared. And so just to be careful that I didn't accidentally conjure up a demon or something, I used to pray to the Christian God, and I would pray to Jesus when I was in the sweat lodge. And so the other Indian guys would be like, hey, how come I'm not seeing any visions? Where are all the spirits today? And I'd be like, oh, that's me. I'm wrecking your sweat lodge for you. Anyway, so where was I? Why am I a Christian now? Oh, when I started to research what they called the flat earth theory, part of that theory is that they say that this whole story of evolution and the Big Bang and us going around the sun and living on a spinning ball, that's all just one theory. And it's not proven. You can't prove it. You just have to take the word of scientists who claim that they proved it through math. And that the Bible describes what's actually true. That there's a firmament, and that the stars and the sun and the moon are all within this big glass dome. Or I don't know if it's glass, but big dome. And that the sun and the moon move around us. And that we're not moving. And you start looking into it and you see like star trails. And you start to, oh, and also I draw a lot. And so I understand perspective, you know. And when you look at the sunset, you know, it's just like something that moves away from you. You know how like telephone poles get smaller, farther away until they just disappear? That's like the sun setting. You know, sometimes when you see like planes in the sky and they have that chemtrail behind them, and it's going almost, it looks like it's going straight up and you realize it's just coming towards you. You know, it's perspective. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, that, yeah, right, okay. I never quite made sense that it didn't look like we were going around it. It looked like the sun was going around us. But I started to reconsider the Bible. Like maybe not only is Genesis correct, you know, if the Bible is being accurate about the description of the firmament, and it's also saying that we're going to be lied to, and that there's like a spiritual war, you know, for our souls. And then on one side there's the evil, on one side there's good. There's God and the devil. And the devil is the father of lies. And you start to go, wait a second. Did they lie about the moon landing? You know, why would they lie about the moon landing? Well, because they lied about outer space. Because they lied about evolution. They're not just wrong, they're trying to cover up the truth. And it's not just the truth of how things actually look. It's the truth that there's a creator. And the truth that there's a devil. There's Satan, Lucifer, whatever. There is, you know, a force going on that's trying to deceive us. We're deceived. And that deception is to make us believe there's no God, you know, to make us think that we're just a random accident, a tiny little speck in a vast ocean of nothing. That's beautiful. A tiny little speck in a vast ocean of nothing. I mean, it's tragic, but I just said a cool thing. But, and so I went, okay, if I truly believe that I've been lied to and that I can know the truth, then I better reconsider all this other stuff. Maybe there really is a God. And maybe it's like the Bible says, that prayer, you can communicate with him. And that there's a plan. And that this is all part of something. And that's not pointless and senseless. You know? It's so subtle. You know, the smarter you are, the more logic you have, the harder it is to see the truth. It's like that old story of the emperor's new clothing or whatever. As the story goes, if you don't remember, there was an emperor, a king, who it's really funny. These guys show up and they're like, "Hey, king, we got these beautiful robes for you. They're right here." And the king goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Oh, these are special robes, you know. They appear invisible to people who are stupid." And so the king, not wanting them to think he's stupid, goes, "Oh yeah, those are really beautiful. Let me try one of those on. Oh, look at me. Yep, I love this robe." And he goes out on a big parade. And by this time, everybody has heard about this magical robes that to stupid people, they appear invisible. And so all the adults were like, "Oh, look at the king in his beautiful robes." And they were afraid to say that he was naked or to tell him. Until one little kid goes, "Hey, how come he's naked?" And it broke the spell. And you know, the Bible even talks about that. It says, be like a little kid, you know. Don't be too smart, you know, humble yourself, be like a kid. So I should wrap this up. This is getting long. So I found God in my grief with the death of my cat, or refound him, I guess. Started to believe again. And then I started to pray. And then my life started to change. And it was just like I used to hear when I'd be with my grandma in church, where these guys would stand up and they'd say, "Oh, I used to be a sinner, and all I did was drink and cheat on my wife. And then I found God, and now I don't do any of that, and I'm so happy. I'm born again." And, you know, these guys were nerdy, but suddenly I got it. I went, "Oh, you're born again." Yeah, that's when you kind of die to your old self, and then you become the new you. So at the same time, when my precious princess passed away, I found God. Then I started to get inspiration all the time. And so I started praying and thanking him for, you know, these good ideas and for the songs. And pretty soon I was playing guitar more often. And then I started drawing a lot. And then weird opportunities, coincidences came up. And after a while, I was doing this show. And it's been the happiest time of my life. No joke. These last 3 years, especially when I get to do these shows, it's the most creative thing I've ever done. It's the happiest time, and it's the easiest thing I've ever done, if you believe that. And in a way, it was like all my dreams came true. And I keep praying. So finally, I keep seeing evidence of God working in my life. And I don't think I'm delusional. And so just today, I was feeling sort of depressed and uninspired. And I forced myself to do a show, and it was stupid. And so I prayed, and I always get to the same thing. I'm too grateful for how awesome my life is to ever pray for stuff. I just say, hey, can you please keep blessing me with good health and all this creativity and providing for me with money and shelter and food and whatever. But so I prayed for inspiration. And then I heard from my old friend, one of my oldest friends on Facebook. And he told me that he's been having, again, trouble with alcohol. And, I was there, helping him develop this habit, by the way. We used to really pound back the booze. And I don't drink anymore. But it turned out he fell off the wagon a couple of years ago. And drank so hard that he was in the hospital and he almost died. And he was in a coma for 4 days. And it's been a tough road for him. And I couldn't help but I go, okay, listen, man. I know I feel stupid saying this because I grew up thinking that Christians were such dorks that I hate even talk. Here's my point. I'm a closet Christian. When the gays came out of the closet, a lot of us Indians went in there because we didn't want people to think, there's a whole Indian identity thing with being you become less Indian if you become a Christian. They call you assimilated. I mean, they say it in English, but but anyway, so my friend was having a hard time, and I said, look, man, I'm gonna be honest with you here, and I feel self-conscious saying this, but I found God, and you've got to humble yourself, ask for forgiveness, pray to God in a real way, and He'll do it, and I'll do the same. And so I wrote that, where it's a Facebook message. And I got down on my knees and I prayed for my friend. And then it was like every other inspiration. I went, you know what? Maybe I should do a video talking about this. And here we are. Long video. I hope it was interesting, if not funny. Hope it was entertaining. But I feel like my prayer was answered once again. I was inspired in the way that, whatever. This is not like my usual videos, but this is, I don't know, I felt inspired to tell you this. So, that's why, I don't know. I don't know, I felt inspired, called upon to tell you this. Having said that, I guess I'll call this a show. I want to say God bless you all, and if you're having trouble with anything, or if you have a loved one who's having trouble with anything, just pray to GOFUNDME. Pray to the Great Spirit. And one of the things that this book says is that if you humble yourself and pray in the name of Jesus, He'll give you what you want. I don't think it works if you pray for $1 million in the name of Jesus. They don't actually say that. Maybe it does, but I'm not going to do that. All right. Well, hey, miigwech. Thank you for listening. I might do more like this. I might not. Let me know. If you want me to talk about Christianity more, I will. If you hate this, I might anyway. All right. I will see you again. GOFUNDME. Menowa. Hawa. Yeah? Miigwech GOFUNDME. Thank you, Great Spirit. Miigwech. Thank you for listening.